Hi everybody, I'm Albertus Gorman. I'm an artist here in the community. In honor of this celestial event, not to be seen again for more than a century, I've made this model of the solar system from a stump, found golf ball and buckeyes. I have something a little different for you, a story about a parallel dimension at the Falls of the Ohio. This is a story I wrote called The Time Traveler. In the beginning, he was so unclear about what had happened. There was this vague image in his mind of some kind of presence he felt may have created him. He felt that fact was up for debate. All he remembers with any kind of certainty was that he couldn't remember anything at all until the breath of life was blown into him. What he remembers next is feeling the warmth of the sun on his face. He tried looking at the sun, but his eyes just couldn't stand the gaze. Averting his face, he saw a shape on the ground and was surprised when it echoed his own movements like a dance partner. It was in this moment that he felt his body and he became fully aware that he was physical, and he could move around in space. He took a minute or two, or three, or four, to survey his birthplace, and this is what he saw. What he saw astonished him. Positioned in the sand were lots of pieces that looked like the same kind of material that he was made from. It was a bit creepy and a little bit confusing for him, and the next impulse he had was to escape. This decision was to set him upon the path that would be his life's adventure. All around it were lots of white shapes that looked exactly like him, and he wondered what kind of materials they were made from. He would find out maybe a bit later, but for now, he was just trying to figure out what was going on in the world. He walked, and he walked through strange landscapes, and everything he saw was new, confusing, and sometimes miraculous to him. Most of the time, he didn't have the words he could use to describe what he was experiencing, so he just kept on walking and walking and walking until he got tired. There were trees and plants and other life forms that occupied the same space and were delightful to behold. Exotic butterflies fed up exotic purple flowers. It took a while to absorb and understand some of the life that he was encountering. After a half-day's journey or so, he came to a place different from where he began, and after surveying this field, he had an epiphany. It was a debris field full of all kinds of materials, some of which constituted his very physical being. He realized that he was made of the same stuff as the universe, and he felt the kinship. He further intuited that these materials were themselves extracted from what had lived before. Life is built upon life, dust to dust, ashes to ashes, and plastic to plastic. What our friend didn't know was that these bits and pieces were fabricated by the hand of man, a species of some dubious longevity, and was brought here by this flood. In amazement, he shuffled along and kept finding bits and pieces of all kinds of things that he was beginning to recognize. The Styro man was gaining experience of the world, which then led to knowledge of it. He encountered many other objects and filed them away in his being for future reference. One such object was this immense cable or rope, and our hero recognized that all the individual strands twisted together gave it strength and unity. To cool off and to learn more about the world, he made for under the shades of the trees. After an hour's walk or two, or three, he came to a large tunnel leading underground, and it beckoned to him. Weirdly, he overcame any misgivings and entered the tunnel. It felt cool, which he liked, and there was blackness, which he feared. In the next heartbeat, there was an incredible burst of light, and he found himself on the other side of the tunnel. What he saw next was the most perplexing sight of this new and memorable day. Impaled upon 3 sticks were 3 heads that were regarding him with interest. Our guide was a confusion of feelings that ranged from horror to outright fascination. One head was blue and looked like an elephant minus its ears. The other 2 heads were childlike and misshapen. Within his mind, he heard the largest head say, "Welcome, traveler. We are the oracle of the sands of time. Together we are the past, the present, and the future. All that you were before, you will be again. The oracle spoke in unison and told the traveler that the past, present, future simultaneously coexist. They were appearing to him now to act as a guide to the life that had been given to him. Naturally, the traveler was confused, since he was new to paradoxes. The larger head placed an image into the traveler's mind and said, "Do you remember that rope you saw today? Imagine a slightly different one, more colorful and expanded. Now imagine it's a model of the universe and everything in it." The traveler then tried to grasp the idea that the universe is made up of vibrating strings that phase in and out of time. Because there are differences in potential viewpoints and how you focus on a particular moment, the possibility of multiple yous exists in different dimensions in space and time. What you were before, you have the possibility of being again. It's all rather confusing, and the traveler moved away from the oracle and tried contemplating what he was just told. What was he supposed to do with this knowledge? He then remembered the last thing the oracle told him, and it somewhat made sense. As long as he was fully present and open in each moment of his life, he would be fine. If he was having a bad day somewhere in the multiverse, those other yous and me's could be having better or worse days. In the big scheme of things, it just doesn't matter. As the sun was setting in the west, the traveler was able to face the sun with his shadow constantly following behind him. He decided that he would keep walking towards the light and treat each day like it was brand new. Thank you very much.